Some high-ranking Democratic lawmakers, including New York Governor Kathy Hochul, in Washington today discussing President Biden's re-election campaign.
NBC5's Sid Boulay joins us live from the newsroom with more on what other Democratic leaders in our region are saying about the party's future. Sid.
Liz, Brian, the bottom line with local Democratic lawmakers is that defeating Trump is the #1 goal this election. However, the question remains, is Biden the best person to do it? NBC5 sat down with Vermont Senator Peter Welch and former governor and presidential hopeful Howard Dean about President Joe Biden's ability to carry out another term and if he can defeat former President Donald Trump in the 2024 election after a rocky June debate.
We saw that debate. The Biden campaign acknowledges it was a disaster. And the question is about his health and his capacity, not just to run and win, but capacity for 4 more years.
I don't think this was all of a sudden overnight terrible thing that happened to him. I think he's 81 years old, and he shows it. But that doesn't make him a bad president. And in fact, I think he's been a much better president than the alternative, who, is already a convicted felon.
Welch says Democrats and Biden need to have a discussion about what's best for the nation.
But the existential question that we face in the country, not just the Democratic Party, is defeating Trump. And the question is, given that and what we all saw, what's the best course?
With that in mind, there's an increasing pressure within the party for Biden to step aside.
That's his choice, and he has to make it. He's the only one that can do that. We're at a stage at the convention, or heading towards the convention, where the rules are pretty set, and he's going to get the nomination unless he decides to step aside.
Dean says while he wants to see a second term for Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris could be a successful pick for the office.
It actually could beat Trump. And so coupled with a big state governor, a swing state governor, that would be a ticket that could work.
But if Biden is still on the ballot in November, both Dean and Welch say it's no question who they'll vote for. Do you plan to vote for Biden?
I certainly do. You think I'm going to vote for the convict?
But if he is on the ballot, you'll vote for him?
Absolutely.
Sid, one phrase we keep hearing a lot from Democrats about this election is that it's going to save the democracy. As a former presidential candidate, what did former Governor Dean have to say about that?
Brian, Dean says that while the presidency is very important, so are the other 2 branches of the executive government. He believes the Supreme Court has gotten far off track.
And people say, well, this election is about democracy. We might lose democracy. We've already lost our democracy. You need 3 branches of independent government in order to have a successful democracy: a strong president, a strong Congress, and a strong courts. The courts are essentially non-existent.
Dean believes that Biden could bring reform to the Supreme Court, while he says Trump would continue to lead the highest court down a harmful path. Back to you.